Dr. Kamakoti has anchored the research team that designed India's first indigenously developed microprocessor, Shakti, which can help reduce reliance on imported microprocessors in communication and defense sectors. He is an alumnus of IIT Madras and an expert artificial intelligence. Dr. Kamakoti was appointed head of the AI task force by the Union Commerce Ministry and is also a member of the National Security Advisory Council.
Yeah, anecdote is that in 2011 time frame, Dr. Kalam told that you should do something concrete. You should do something for the country by 2020, which is not abstract. Okay, so that's the biggest anecdote. Essentially means don't tell stories, do something concrete. Okay, so that was the biggest inspiration for all of us, and what we can do, each one of us can do, trying to realize the vision of Dr. Kalam. And that's where I was working in the area of semiconductor, and that's where we decided, let us now go and do a microprocessor for the country. So, and then because microprocessor is, we even at 2011 we envisaged this massive digital revolution, and we said that we need a family of microprocessors, starting from very small embedded devices to large scale cloud servers, etc. And so we need to start some effort in that direction, and that is where we started, and that is something which we have sustained for now around 12 years now, we did get at least 3-4 chips that are taped out and working, and we did enthuse more than 1,000 teams across India to use this processor as a part of our Swadeshi microprocessor challenge, which was hosted by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And then today, more than 5 startups of IIT Madras, originated from IIT Madras, are now working in Shakti. So these are some big achievements, in my opinion, in this direction.
Your idea of making India into a semiconductor hub and alike service-based software startups, can the country create hardware front semiconductor startups? Your opinion?
Absolutely, and I'm sure that we are on that path. It's not anymore a story; it is a reality. We have now, specifically, I can talk about 1 or 2 programs. There are many such programs. The first program is on the Digital India RISC-V, which was launched by the Honorable Minister of Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. This is something which is very important today. The initiatives like Digital India RISC-V, which basically addresses your question that can the country create hardware front semiconductor startups. Under the DIRV, we have several startups now, so which basically addresses many aspects of microprocessor development. So, in my opinion, the microprocessor is one of the most complex electronic circuit which the human has ever conceived of and developed and manufactured and successfully delivered. Right. So in that direction, the DIRV is such start of a program can actually bring in several startups which work on different aspects of this complex chip development, and basically become a sort of a nice ecosystem in the country which will exist to address these different issues and solve them and give solutions for them.
Coming to my third question, key security challenges and architectural design complexities while democratizing processor-based SoC design.
Wonderful question. Thank you, Niloy, for asking this question. So I must now put on record that Linux, which is a model which is open source, it has been customized by many organizations and delivered as different versions or flavors. Today is the most secure operating system. I have no doubt in telling that. And this model, because there are a lot of eyes that have looked into it, there are a lot of vulnerabilities that have been reported, and people have fixed it over a period of time. And even if there is a vulnerability, the world has many eyes which are looking into it to find out what is it and arrive at quick fix, rather than working with a black box. So I strongly believe that open source and having it looked by a lot of people who are ethical, honest, and a lot of academics, a lot of industry who are doing that, and then promoting that open source for further customization and making product is the best answer to security. I have no doubt about it. With my 24 years of experience teaching hardware, I have no second thoughts on this at all. And if at all there is going to be a system in which people can build the trust, right, it will be an open source system. And we believe that. And in this direction only, the RISC-V effort was taken up by Berkeley, and IIT Madras was the third academic institution to join after Berkeley MIT. And we strongly believe that RISC-V instruction set architecture is going to be the revolution. And we have seen that, right? When 2017, when we went for funding, a lot of questions were asked by a lot of people saying, how do you think it will be successful? What is not? Why? So many questions which every child can answer, but every technologist will struggle to answer. Child can question, but every technology person will struggle to answer. But then we did have a fight. This is a single line fight that we have, that being open is the best way for security, right? Whether be it software or be it hardware. And Linux gave us that courage to make that statement. Today, I'm very happy to tell you that India has launched a DIL5. Like, we have a national anthem, we have a national bird, we have a national flag, we have a national ISA, instruction set architecture, right? And that's just right. And the DIRVI effort, again, thanks to Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who put a lot of his effort, a lot of his thought process in announcing this, right? So this is something which is going to really democratize and bring in that notion of security. Now, to add to that, we have added a lot of secure artifacts into the microprocessor, right? So today, a microprocessor, like traditional microprocessor, conventional microprocessors, this work in 4 levels. Like, there's a machine mode, there's a hypervisor mode, supervisor mode, and then the user mode. And then each of these mode has a privilege level. There is a lot of protection that you can assign based on these modes. And then today we have developed a separation kernel, first of its kind in the open source, in the RISC-V community, which can basically isolate your operating system and your software from the hardware and do a lot of control there, a lot of things. So many things that were reported as hacks, like rootkits and etc., can be handled very significantly, very effectively using this type of a robust infrastructure. And all these are open source. So the more so what the DIRVI effort takes up from the Shakti platform is that today we are making very good architectures which are secure, which have provable security. Now we are putting this in the open web for people to start using it. They can do their own due diligence in terms of security, etc. And many of them come back and say, there are certain small things that we need to fix, and we fix and give it to them. So this is something that we are democratizing, and I feel this openness plus this democratization is very important for us to develop a secure, infrastructure, secure based startups in the country.
Dr. Kamakoti, the next question is around Bharat GPT initiative. So we want to know your key role in it.
So Bharat GPT, my key role is IIT Bombay is leading. Professor Ganesh Ramakrishnan is the leader for this particular thing, and many institutions are participating in it. We truly believe that this GPT is like a kid, and whatever you teach it is what it's going to respond, right? So any AI engine is like that, right? So the basic input that needs to be given must be, is what they respond at a later stage, right? So this is absolutely like a kid. You train the kid in some way, that's the way it will respond when it becomes old, right? So our role in Bharat GPT is basically now work with IIT Bombay under the leadership of IIT Bombay. We want to take it forward, and we want to do something called domain specific LLMs, right? Every domain. I don't want somebody who's a jack of trades. Of course, there are people who can answer any question about anything, right? So that essentially means that there'll be lot more of power requirement, a lot of compute requirement, lot of storage requirements. So effectively the compute stack will become so large. If I say I'm going to be jack of all trades, right? And that's what has happened. So I take parallel from computer architecture. So there are general purpose machines, right? And these are really power consuming, They can't go even into a mobile sort of thing. So there are general purpose machines. Then there are domain specific architectures. That's what that is what that got the Turing Prize. So both Hennessy and Patterson had talked about. They are the sort of they are the fathers of computer science, computer architecture. They did talk about this domain specific architectures as a part of the Turing lecture, right? So the reason is that when I want to do something very specific, I don't need all the masala, right? I don't need this entire general purpose computing. It is enough that I have something that I need. So this is called domain specific architectures. Typically, again, that's why the RISC-V is also successful today. Like I have something called an extensible instruction set architecture where I can basically take some part of the instruction set and make a processor out of it, and that compiler will only compile those instructions, and that is enough for me, right? Similarly, when we come to Bharat GPT, we have to look at domain-specific LLMs, one for legal, one for agriculture, Indian context. What has happened in India? I don't want to confuse it with something. I want to be a co-pilot for my farmer in all the multiple languages. So give an app that they just type some question and it basically starts answering in the local language. So something for Indian health conditions. So that is where Bharat GPT, I believe, will be going, and we are very confident of our approach, and that is the role. And I'm now one of the collaborators. IIT Madras is one of the collaborators with Bharat GPT, and we will be contributing towards whatever in one or two domains we'll take up, and then we will be contributing towards. But it's a very collective effort by many institutions. And I'm sure it will be very successful under the able leadership of IIT Bombay, Professor Ganesh Ramach.
Coming to my next question is the importance of ESG and public policy and amalgamating advanced engineering and research thinking mindsets across it.
ESG is becoming extremely important. You take the financial report of any bank today, everything talks about ESG. And ESG is also an evolving concept, right? It's not that everybody, what is ESG? You have a definition. I don't think we have a definition. It's very ambiguous as of now. And it will be ambiguous because we are now evolving that. But every finance, see, ultimately for any success, I need finance. Okay. Okay. So without finance, we can't do. Without Lakshmi, we can't do anything. Right? So that's very, very important. So today, days are not very far off. That let me just start from a bank. I'm sitting in a bank, somebody is coming up and asking for a loan. I see their total addressable market. For me to evaluate the total addressable market, suppose they are doing some project which involves some metal or something like that. If the amount of carbon they basically emit because of preparing that particular component exceeds the acceptable limit, some countries will not even buy their products. Correct? And it's not that product as a whole. So let us say I have this mouse in my hand. This mouse has some plastic, then internally some electronics and so a lot of things, like some movement, some levers. Even there can be one nut or screw there which is being done by some factory which is not meeting the emission norms. This whole product will be rejected. So this is sort of a very transitive closure that we have. And this level of strictness is necessary if all the countries have to meet the sustainable development goal commitments. Otherwise, the whole earth is in sort of a very bad shape, right? So this is a massive UN effort, and that has been very highly reflected in the G20 summit that we have been talking of. All the G20, we have been pushing around, we've been centering around, the sustainable development goals. So now, as a bank, when I'm trying to even give a loan, I had to understand this ESG, and I start understanding this ESG from grassroots level. Suddenly, one day, no, I can't come and superimpose ESG on all the assets that I have created, all the credits that have been availed from the bank, right? So I have to start from now. So this is a very, very interesting concept. And so public policy, essentially, first regulator. So what is the circulars that RBI is going to send on ESG? It's a very important thing that we need to look at, right? So, and then this whole systems must amalgamate. So just because I have some doubt about ESG, if I start bumping all the loan credits, then the bank will not grow, right? So we will add up. But without looking at ESG, if we start funding, some point our NPA will rise. right? So many things are there. So that's why I love this question. There should be a public policy, and we need to amalgamate it with some of the understanding that we have in this whole concept, right? So how much time? So I'm now funding a factory. Does it have engineering capability that it is over a period of time it will meet certain ESG norms? Okay, and E, S, and G are very well intercoupled also, intertwined also. So I need to have a good governance to make certain policy which is as evolving as environmental policies. I need a good governance structure so that I quickly adapt it to that ever changing environmental policies. Today, what we think is a good environmental policy may not hold good, say, 1 year down the line. And I'll be quickly changing those policies also. And I need to very quickly see this governance model will quickly adapt to the changed policy. So ESG is all the E, S, and G are all very tightly coupled. And so now for this entire evaluation of ESG, there need to be a lot of engineering interventions. Right? Today we are talking of, yesterday we just were evaluating a project of how do we use, sewage water in a boiler to create steam, which will go and, enable crushing of paper to make a, recycled paper of high quality. To make recycled paper, I need steam, and that steam must come from a boiler. And the water I use must be sewage water, which I recycle and use. And I also use heat. I generate heat by burning certain, what you call as waste, municipal waste. So municipal waste generates heat. Treated sewage water generates the steam. We take paper that is dumped and recycle it and create good quality paper. This is a very nice, type of things that we would like to do. And for that, all this, when I say ESG here, and somebody comes for a funding for this, this is amalgamated with engineering, right? And I need all these are engineering concepts. How to recycle? What sort of membrane I put? Will that membrane be recyclable? Okay, and then how do I segregate municipal waste? What is the best way to boil? And that boiler should meet certain pollution control norms, right? So then how do you bring? And if it is not exceeding that pollution control stuff, how do you bring down? Today the pollution control norm says X, Y, Z. Tomorrow, say 2 years down the line, they may give you 1 year to bring down the pollution by another 10%, 20%. Do we have the engineering ability to do? And when we do that, will this business become sustainable? So there are a lot of questions come up, right? So this is a very great combination of some public policy and engineering together.
Thank you for your lovely answer, Dr. Kamakoti. Coming to my next point, is India is a vibrant young country. With this dynamism brings further challenge of incubating these talent pools to the vision of the country's future, specifically in the research, implementation, go-to-market, and strongly to market the ideas into final products. Hence, my question is, what is your thoughts, vision to bridge the talent gap in India, specifically in the semiconductor and associated evolving research industries?
Excellent. So let me just start off with a very interesting project that we are doing with the Tamil Nadu government. Okay. See, since you have asked about semiconductors, first and foremost, human capacity building is extremely important. Okay. We need to invest a lot of money in building human capacity, and that will be our wealth, right? So if you evolve a project, right, 80% must go on human capacity, 20% should be on capital. This is my prescription to all funding agencies. 80% you should evolve on human capacity, because that is what we need to build today, right? So now let us take semiconductor. Now, how many people are interested in hardware? When I joined this department in July 2001, July 1, 2001, I was I was the only person now doing something on hardware. That became interesting. I still remember more than 70% of the students, BTech students, want to do project with me. Right? Then came my friend Ravindran, who brought in AI. Right? Then there was time like BTech doesn't even look at me because the interest is more on the AI and ML. Now I had to now go and tell I'm doing edge AI hardware. Okay. So bring in AI into my hardware field. And now then some people started staring at me. Okay. So this is the overall goal. So people, because today AML gives jobs that are very stable and also pay them very heavy. But when I develop these algorithms, I need hardware to basically execute this algorithm. Right? All these systems, all these algorithms and software work on hardware. Who will build that hardware? This is a question, fundamental question. So we need people who are extremely interested in electronics. We need to develop that interest at a young age, right? So what we have done with with Tamil Nadu government, with our school education department here, we have a very vibrant school education department in Tamil Nadu. So what we have done is as follows. We have now identified 252 government schools. We have made one in-house electronic kit at IIT Madras. We are giving them 10 kits to each. And students of 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th will do 25 experiments each in electronics in the 9th standard, 10th standard, 11th standard, 12th standard. Totally, when they finish the 12th standard, they would have done 100 experiments. Now, in each class, we are expecting around 100 students to participate. So, 400 students per school. So, we have 252 schools. So, around 100,000 children will benefit out of it. And 25,000 kids will come every year from plus 2. Assuming 25,000 kids are coming out with 100 experiments they have done in electronics and they would have developed some interest. The experiments are designed in such a way that the first 3 years of their electronics and communication course, wherever they find circuitry and other things, they will understand the basic concepts. So they are already fine-tuned for taking up engineering in electronics and communication. Assuming in this 25,000, only 20% are interested. I have 5,000 government school children now interested in doing electronics. And they are solid. They have done this 100 experiments and they have a good introduction to electronics. I think that is the way by which we need to move this innovation front back. Right? That's very, very important. So at an young age, we need to touch them when they are young and basically motivate them, give them an opportunity. It's also very important to explore a field. And if they are interested, they can continue. And I'm very confident so keeping this in mind, we also have started a BS in electronic systems, an online course. We have a BS in data science where we have 25,000 students currently enrolled. We just started the BS in electronic system where we have 1,000 students now. And I'm sure many of these students will come and join. And they do that 4-year course. They get a certificate. They become alumnus of IIT Madras. Okay, so they get a degree here and it's a very worthwhile degree. Okay, so this is something, it's a very quick answer to the first part of your question. Second part is that we need people to patent their ideas. Today, government has made, so patent was, unheard of in my student days. If we push some patent, takes years for people to evaluate, etc. Today, we are getting clearance. Last year, even being a director, still my student has got a lot of ideas and we did publish patents. Last year itself, myself personally, we have 4 patents granted. Okay, so it is 1 to 1.5 years. The patents are disposed today, right? So whether you get it or not, granted, not granted. And today we have AI-based tools which help us in understanding what that patent is going across multiple patent database across the world and bringing you some ideas on whether this is patentable or not, and also gives you a lot more insight about totally addressable market, etc. So there's a Chandigarh based company, Excelpat, which has done exemplary work on this, right? And then we are using some of these licenses. Friend, this year we have already filed close to 300 plus patents, and I'm very confident that this year we will close March 31st, this financial year, with 366 patents. Being a leap year, we had February 29th. So 1 patent a day. And this is what we want to push, right? And we need people to own their ideas. And then these patents must translate into startups. So we at IIT Madras has a very clear, we have an entrepreneurship cell, then we have a center for innovation. Entrepreneurship cell basically catches these people, even BTech project, MTech project, ask them, okay, whether it's patentable or not, help them file the patent. Now they have an idea. With this, they come to Center for Innovation. They translate this idea into a design. Then they go to Nirman, which is a pre-incubator. They convert this design into a prototype. Then we have 5 incubators in IIT Madras, the mother incubation cell of IIT Madras. Then we have incubation for cyber physical systems, IIT Madras Pravatak Foundation. We have health technology innovation. We have rural technology based incubator. Then we have a bio incubator. We'll be starting some very quickly a sustainability incubator. We'll start another incubator dedicated for financial technology. So we have now already 5 incubators. Plus, we'll be starting many more in the near future. Now, these incubators will basically convert that prototype into a startup. Then we have Gopalakrishnan Deshpande Center, funded by 2 of our illustrious distinguished alumnus, Chris Gopalakrishnan and Desh Deshpande, and which is basically converting these startups, mentoring these startups, and hopefully make them successful first and then mostly unicorn in the times to come. Okay, so this is very, very important. And this type of a cell, we are now from the incubation cell. It's not just for IIT Madras. We are NIRF1 institution for last 8 years. We want to be, relevant to the entire country, not just to us. So we are now started a program called 10x, where we would like to take people, other incubators across the country to basically come here, make use of our facility and move forward. So we are now looking at incubating several more startups. From IIT Madras, my thing is that we need to have 100 startups a year. And I really have been telling the students repeatedly that 2025 on the first day of placement, please give me the pride of announcing that 20% of my graduating class are CTOs. So this is the target in which we need to work. And I hope every institution must work. India can become a superpower only if we generate more employers rather than employees. India can become a superpower only if we own our ideas. So patenting becomes extremely important. So innovation, entrepreneurship are the basic building block for a superpower Viksit Bharat 2047.
Thank you for the answer. And of course, we are looking forward to a Viksit Bharat and more economic powerhouse through technology and innovation. So, coming to my next question is that semiconductor manufacturing is a costly affair. How do you think prime universities like IIT Madras can be instrumental to the policies like PLI scheme?
What we need today is semiconductor manufacturing. There are multiple steps. One is design. And then there is something, design is done in some hardware description languages. So there are a lot of design houses. That's not costly. There are a lot of open source tools also. Then comes the part of what you call as a physical design, which will convert your design, which is in a soft form, into a mask, which is also a soft form. It's called GDS2. Now, this involves commercial tools and a lot of compute facilities are needed. So what IIT Madras has done under our own funding here, we have created an infrastructure where there will be cloud facilities available, and then we have commercial tools. The startups who are incubated with us can come and use it, and then basically go forward on that. Once that is done, then the mask is made. Now there is one fabrication part, and then there is a packaging part. So there is a packaging has come down to India now in a big way. There are many players now who can do assembly, test, and packaging, and I have no doubt that can happen. The only missing piece inside the country is the manufacturing. We have, of course, the Semiconductor Laboratory Chandigarh. I'm very proud to tell that last few months before also we taped out a chip there. Still working well, but then to a very large scale production level facility at a very high niche technology is something that we are looking at, right? And that is the costly affair now involved. This is number one. Number two is that IPs. See, you are making a processor, but then you have a mobile phone. Of course, you have a mobile phone, Niloy. But have you ever thought of the processor inside it, or have you thought of what is the pixel camera that you have? When you buy a mobile phone, again, lot of other additional features. Does it have Bluetooth? Does it have two cameras, three cameras? What is the density? All these things, how much memory you have. These are the things that come in picture, right? More than what is the ARM core which is inside, right? So these peripheral IPs, like your memory chip, right? Your memory IP, your Wi-Fi IP, your 5G IP, these are all very, very costly. And if I want to make a product, this is a chip. Chip is not just a processor. It's called system on chip. Essentially, there are many peripherals around it, and all these peripherals have to be in place before it takes. So that is where we stand. So IPs are becoming costly. So India must start an IP program, or we must have a deal where these IPs are basically sold with an after sales profit or royalty that comes up. So two things are necessary where we are also working. One, uh, every other problem, in my opinion, is sort of done. The two important things that are missing is one is fabrication and the IPs. And that is where we will be working forward to see how to solve this problem in a uh, very effective manner.
Coming to my last question, is that recently IIT Madras received a funding of INR 110 crore from Sunil Wadhwani to architect AI and data science school. How does the institution plan to implement the funding in creating an ecosystem while enriching research, enrollment, and employability?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, the school just started 3-4 months before young baby, and thanks to Sunil for his very gracious contribution, just came as a beautiful thing. And now this 100 crore will be put 105 crores is what he has given. So 100 crore will be put as an endowment, which will yield around 5% of what it will yield around 5 to 8% in current market. That 5% we will basically take out and spend for the department. And this 5 crores per year is what we will get as a return on this. And it will be going on for time for long time to come. That's what we expect here. In this money that is going to come as a yield of this endowment, we will be doing many activities. One of the very interesting activities, we are now going to announce very shortly a bachelor's program, a BTech program, admission through JE Advanced in AI and data analytics. AI. Okay, so that's what we are going to announce that. And that will be a world-class course. It's going to be very unique. And that I believe that it will give us the maximum employment as we see from this in the sector of AI. AI is not just computer science. AI is a mixture of multiple disciplines, which is highly dependent on data. Data has syntax and semantics. Syntax is more of computer science data structures, but semantics is much more on domain expertise. And somebody has to have a successful AI system deployed, right? It requires a very broad understanding of this entire field, and that is what this AIDA will do. And it's a world-class syllabus, never unheard of, and it will be first time launched by IIT Madras. And I hope a lot of young students will come and take. The admission will be through JE Advanced, and I hope a lot of young students will come and join this course and benefit out of it. So that is one employability stuff, and we are also starting many programs in the PhD and in the research side, specifically looking at responsible AI, which is going to be extremely important for any policy generation, etc., etc., etc. So many things, and then we are also looking at many other aspects of AI in terms of policy, AI governance, etc. And so one thing is to solve problems using AI, but then another thing is to study what is the effect of AI on policies, on governance, on environment, and all these things. And those things also are going to come up in a very big way. AI for health is something which we are up to. Uh, uh, AI for public health is something which will be an extremely important contribution of AI. So just to give you an example of that. So we are looking on domain specific research in the area of AI. be highly interdisciplinary. There will be cybersecurity component that will be coming up. So we are very excited, and now already we have the people from 7 departments who have come together and made this School of AI and Data Science. Again, Vadvan is Sunil's contribution has come at the right time. We're very grateful to him. This is a real boost for them. Now, the HOD of this particular school is the richest HOD today. He gets a yearly grant of 5 crores on day one, on April 1 of any year. It's something phenomenal.
Thank you, Dr. Kamakoti. It has been around 15 years I have been reporting across the ESDM sector. I have been also reporting across the IESA Vision Summits. So I have been a very personal fan of you. So it's kind of a dream come true when I'm actually interviewing you today through the wall post. Thank you, the readers and viewers. So this is the end of a great conversation what we had with IIT Madras director, Dr. Kamakoti. Stay tuned with us with more such episodes of innovation and research taking ahead India. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kamakoti.